My name is Vaughn. We're going to be talking about kind of the future of retail. I like to have just a general conversation with you guys. There's a lot of my content that's online, my opinions of what I think the future holds. And so obviously you guys can watch that stuff whenever you want. So I really think the value today is going to be in your guys' questions, getting exactly specific of what you guys want to learn, what you're trying to take away from this conference or this speech specifically, where your problems are. So I'm definitely going to try and leave some time at the end. And then there's actually a really cool ball here that I can throw to you guys. You can ask the question, and we'll go on from there. So I want to just start off with a couple minutes going over why I feel I have any authority to stand on this stage and talk to you guys. So I started in the medical marijuana field back in 2010, 2011. Back then in Washington State, I love getting to talk in Washington State. I go all over, talk in Canada, all those kind of things. I can actually tell you guys cities, and you know what that means, like the city of Tacoma, where no one else in the country knows where that is. So our first shop was in the little city of Pacific, and so we named our collective Pacific Green. We were really thinking outside the box there. Guess what? There's a Pacific Green in Oregon, there's a Pacific Green in California, there's lots of them. But we started off in this little tiny town, and then we expanded. We got a shop in Puyallup, Spanaway, Tacoma. Some of you have maybe heard where those cities are located. But so we grew to 4 stores, and that's one of the things that I'm going to talk about today is why so many retailers cap out. Why we don't see somebody have 100 stores already. And the other thing is why today we're in a rec state. More states are coming online. There is not one company that's in every recreational or medical state. So think about that. So we have where nobody is taking advantage of the opportunities we currently have and can. Stop thinking about Sessions and Trump and the fact that we're not totally federally decriminalized like Canada is going to do in just a couple months. That's something I'm going to kind of touch on. But so what are we doing that's limiting our growth, our potential of what we can do as an industry, and then moving forward? So once again, guys, I'm going to kind of speed through my background and get into some details and meat for you guys. But to get it full circle, we did the transition 5052, if you guys know what that means. 5052 was where they took medical people and then moved them into recreational, put us all in one sandbox. We all have the same taxes, the same regulations, the same traceability, and we had to move our down, and we now have our flagship store in Olympia, Washington. We have another license in Lewis County, and down there I have to get a personal letter from Jeff Sessions himself to let me sell weed. That's their regulatory process. Speaking of that, I want to get a kind of about how many people in this room right now are in retail, bud tender, working there every day. Awesome, guys. You guys, I'm going to be talking a lot to you guys. Now, who else is in the industry? Are you producer processor side, wanting to sell to a retailer, grower, investor? Who out there is that? Okay, awesome. And then who just is like, oh my God, there's a marijuana convention. I'm going to go check out that. That's what sounds like fun. There we go, my man. So guys, we'll go over some general stuff, but obviously this talk is going to get very, very specific to retailers. Guys, I think our value to this ecosystem is huge. There's not a lot of practitioners. We are a smaller set of people, and I'm just letting you know, I'm very impressed by Cannacon, that they have done so much of this event for retailers. Normally you come to these things and it's just, oh, for growers, hey, here's some lights, here's some nutrients. Oh, don't worry about your retailers. It's your guys' job to sell our weed, whatever. So with that, I want to go into what is our current ecosystem here in Washington. I'm going to get very, very specific with Washington. I'm more than happy to answer questions about other states because we're at a different place in the history of retail than a lot of other states. We are literally the path on what shows people what is going to come down the road. We've gone through a lot of bumps that other people either aren't going to have to go through or is coming down 24, 36 months down the road. So one of those major things is we have a situation where we went through the big expansion. Everybody got in for their lottery ticket, either on the grow side or the retail side. I mean, this state literally had lottery tickets. And then we capped off the growth. Down in Portland, Oregon, or just Oregon in general, it's still open up as many as you can. So it's a different curve on competition. But what they have is they still have higher prices. And why is that? So for us on the retail side, we are already seeing 5 years in, specifically on the recreational side, 5 years in, we are starting to see consolidation. So what does that mean? We are seeing where people are going out of business. Mostly right now we see it on the producer-processor side where they couldn't sell their stuff, they had too high rent, they had a failed crop, and they just didn't have the investment capital. The big thing to me is guys, I'm going to be talking a lot about customers, revenue, those kind of details, because guess what? Investment in our industry dies if we don't sell something to a customer. Okay? Hedge fund money dies if we don't sell something to a customer. It all comes down to us actually getting weed in a bag, in an eighth, in a quarter, whatever, and actually making that customer happy. Everything else stops. The whole engine for this industry does. And so that's where the customer is king. And the number one thing that I can tell you guys is, and especially the few that are all out here that are behind a counter every day, price matters more than any of us want to admit. You'll hear it from producer-processors of like, oh no, trust me man, people buy my stuff all the time. Guess what? Price, if we're not doing the branding, which I'm going to get into, if we're not doing the branding, it all comes down to price. When you guys are on Amazon and you're buying the same thing, a bottle of water, and this thing's 10 cents less, do you go with that one? It's 10 cents. Why don't you just pay more? You guys work hard for your money, right? I work hard for my money. So I want to really stress, guys, that when we're looking at where this is going, and everybody talks about where's the bottom? Okay, where's the bottom, guys? How much cheaper is we going to get? We got $50 eighths with 46% tax. I got $10 quarters. I got $1 pre-rolls. How much cheaper is this stuff going to get? Actually, for the retailers that are in the shop, what is your guys' cheapest pre-roll? Selling. Out the door, retail price, out the door. Cheapest, $5, $4, $2. Okay, and we got $1. So as you can see, different areas have different prices. I'm not going to stand up here today and say, you guys got to sell it at this price. Because where you're at, your competition, your client base, totally different. I had two shops literally 5 miles apart. One shop, nothing but top shelf. Could not sell a $25 eighth if I gave it away. All $40 plus eighths. And then the other one, dude, $20 for an eighth? Are you kidding me? Are you trying to rob people? So guys, I get that, and that's what we want to talk about today. So jumping in on where is the industry going, obviously the real quick answer is obviously at some point we know we're all going to have to change our retail stores, give layouts, bring in a lot of AI, and the robots are going to be doing a bunch of stuff. I hope they don't kill us all, but that's where we're obviously going. But you guys have seen the Amazon store. I'm not going to say, hey, 15 years from now we're all going to have where someone can walk in, grab a bag, and walk out and the computers do it all. Guess what? I guarantee we'll all still be working just as hard as we're working now. This industry is the hardest working industry of any industry I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of some that really like to brag. So guys, I want to commend everybody here who wants to get in or is in this industry because you know it's a bunch of hard work and you guys are willing to put in the work to live your dream. So let's get into some specifics. If you guys are in a retail shop, want to get into a retail shop, want to invest on the retail side, you think the money is on the retail side, I commend you because you are an odd person. You want to deal with customers. You want to deal with somebody upset that you sold them bad weed. Are you going to return it? What are we going to do? So guys, when we started on the medical side, I'm going to be totally honest with you, we had a 100% satisfaction policy. If you don't like it, 2 indica, 2 sativa, you just don't like the flavor, stop smoking it. Bring it back, that's on me. I'll trade you out, I'll get you something else. We, to my knowledge, are still the only recreational shop in Washington State that does that. Am I standing up here telling you that you guys should do that? Absolutely fucking not. It does not help the bottom line. It may not buy in with your guys' culture and lifestyle, but that's just what's right for us. So what I am standing up here today saying is that you guys need to figure out what is yours. What is your store going to represent? What is your store about? Okay, there are some gorgeous stores that are top shelf that cater to their clientele, the Bellevue stores. I love every Bellevue store I love because I love going into them. I don't really like the prices, but I love going into them, and I would be charging those exact same prices if I had a Bellevue store. So, because the clientele isn't price conscious. So, with our return policy, that just made sense for us because we came from the medical side. And in all honesty, one thing I would say is that burning somebody back in the old days, them not liking it, for the retailers in here, they know it. Did they, like when they get a Fat Panda joint and they smoke it and it sucked, oh man, this joint was moldy, man. Are they mad at Fat Panda or are they mad at you, the retailer? Guess whose fucking Instagram they're going to blow up? Mine. Oh, dude, you sold me moldy weed. Dude, it's Washington State. I'm not at the farm. I'm not legally allowed to grow it. I didn't package it, and I sold it to you the day it came in. But it's on us. And that's what I'm trying to say is you are interacting with the customer, and you're going to be the ones dealing with all those problems. So if you are on the outside, the people who are in retail, you guys know this. But if you're looking at getting in, investing into retail, that's something you have to have that personality. A lot of times back in the medical days, and some people here are from Oregon where you can go vertical, California you can go vertical, Canada is most likely going to go vertical. Then you go, well, dude, we're growing all this weed. Man, dude, I don't want to give that margin to somebody else. Let's keep all that margin. Let's go vertical. We'll have our big grow, 30,000 square feet, 40,000 square feet, and we'll just sell most of it in our shop, and we're just going to print money. So here's the situation. I'm a big believer in vertical. I think you should go vertical as much as you possibly can. The big thing you got to be concerned about is investment. Where is your investment going to go? Because it's all about cash flow. Okay? That's why some farms have gone out of business, is because of cash flow, guys. At some point, they didn't generate. Just because you have weed, and trust me, stores have a lot of fucking weed. Just because they have weed doesn't mean you have profit or you have revenue. So I normally don't use this slide thing at all, so we're going to test this out. We got cool gadgets. So I'm just going to pull up a couple, because this is Washington State. For anybody who's never seen 502 data, the law passed that we have to put up all of our information publicly. So you guys can literally look up my company, and it'll tell you exactly what revenue we do. Okay? So this is a company. I removed the names. If I messed up and didn't remove their name, I apologize to them. But I literally pulled this up last night. The December date literally just dropped a couple days ago. So we're literally talking about 2 months back data. This store has been around since 2015. They maxed out in revenue around June, July, August. So what happened back in 2016? Does anybody remember? My man. Boom. So you're going to see almost every retailer has their spike or a spike around that date. Because in this state, they basically closed down 10,000, or 1,000, I apologize, 1,000 medical collective shops and said, okay, guys, y'all got to go to retailers. And they're like, back then there was about 250, maybe 300 locations. And so for that period of time, a lot of people don't want to go back to the black or gray market. Okay? They don't know a dealer. They don't know a home grower. And so when you're going that direction, you have a lot of people. These guys, I'm sure in July, they're like, woo, this is just going to continue going on. So let's take a look at this. They were at around 120, and now they're down to doing just over 60,000 a month. That's 60,000 a month, period. Okay, you got taxes, rent, and we all know in marijuana, we all know rent's high, right? Okay, we're paying basically retail prices on warehouse, and then when you are in retail, you're paying even more. So guys, that number, I'm going to click over to another one, and just to bring it in, this one doesn't look so bad. It's just the numbers are bigger. So these guys actually capped out around 260. You can see it on the left-hand side of what they were doing and the excise tax that they're bringing in. And then they've gone all the way down to 180. It's basically close to 100,000 a month. Guys, that's per month they've lost $100,000 revenue. That's 1.2 million a year, and this is in this state where it's all good. Everyone's making money. No one out here wants to be the guy who's lost a fuckload of money in weed. You feel like the dumbest guy in the room. I'm letting you know, I'm standing up here, I've lost a fuckload of money in weed. Trust me, more than you guys ever want to know. I've lost so much money. The biggest thing is that's what I'm trying to say, is us as retailers, and that's what I'm up here talking about, is I'm having a conversation with you guys. I'm not up here to sell you anything. The last guy who was up here, I thought he was a really good guy. I listened to his speech. He's selling you on his services about stop fraud preventions, don't lose your cash. That's a great speech. You guys should listen to that and probably follow it. I'm probably going to give him a call. But he's selling something. I've got nothing to sell you. So I'm just talking and having a conversation of, hey, this is our reality. How do we work together to be more successful? So one last one. I think I got one more here. So these guys like are literally a brand. I took the brands off because I'm not going to slam anybody. This is a brand that everyone in this room knows. Guarantee it. And they capped out, look, almost 350,000. That's doing good business. Now they're all the way down, just fell under 200. That's, like I did the math, it's like 1.5 or 1.7 million lost in revenue a year. Okay, where is that going? Are people buying less weed? Does anybody think that people are buying less rec weed today than they were yesterday? Okay, no one raised their hands because you guys are all fucking right. So we all know the numbers are, it's going up. Okay, we've had a couple bump months, but that's the trajectory. The excise tax is going to keep going up. Revenue is going to keep going up. Everyone is in this room because the one thing about our industry is it's an expanding industry. More people are coming in, at least either out of the black market into the recreational market, because why? Because prices keep dropping. Are you going to call a guy, meet him behind a gas station for a $10 eighth? Probably not. So that is the one good thing about our industry and why we all want to now come in, be legal, and move on, even though in this state it is the highest taxed state against us. Our excise tax is still a joke, and I hope that that gets better. The Liquor Control Board actually had a meeting last month about potentially lowering it. I hope that they listen to all of us and actually do that, but who knows? They really like that sin tax. So what am I saying here? What I'm saying here, I'm going to say it twice. People are always buying weed. They're just not buying it from you. Okay? I'll say that again. People are always buying weed. They're just not buying it for you. So in retail, the number one thing you need to always be thinking about is why. Why did that person go to the other store? What was it? Was it customer service? Was it price? Was it brands? Was it whatever? Okay? So that's really what this talk is about. You know, I can lay out the future of where the industry is going and where retail is going, and we're going to touch on that. But really what we're trying to have a conversation about is how to get that customer to choose you. So on to the next one. We're going down this road, and I want you guys, tell me 10 burger companies. Just name them out. Red Robin. Yeah, that's a good one. Red Robin. Burger King. Jack in the Box. Wendy's. In-N-Out. Thank you for In-N-Out, because I didn't think anyone was going to name that one. Carl's Jr. Sonic. Good. Five Guys. Dick's. That's where I'm going after this. I'm being totally honest with you. Okay, we're at 9. Okay, there we go. And no one said McDonald's. Come on, guys. Okay. Okay, so guys, obviously not even 10 right there. But here's the big thing. No one person probably could do 10 by themselves. So but as a group, we figured that out. And you want to know why? Because our brain, after about 10, we don't really remember brands. Okay? And why is that? It's just there's too much clutter in this space. I could ask the same question. I'll do the same question. I'll do it to the whole room. And we'll just do it. We'll make this simple. 5 car dealerships. Not Acura, Ford, Lexus. Those are brands. 5 car dealerships where you actually walked in and the guys you actually bought your car from. The franchise location or a local car dealership. It's just a mom and pop shop. Can anyone name one? There we go. Sound Ford. Exactly. Every one of those guys that you guys just named spends over $1 million a year in just media buy. That's not producing it. That's not anything. Just the media buy, and that's on a low one. So Sound Ford, they're probably about $1.5, $2 million a year in media buy every time you're seeing those commercials. Is your rec store or the shop you sell at advertising like that? And how many of us couldn't even remember those? So that's the one thing that I want to bring to the attention is how much money in advertising you actually have to spend to get people to care about you and to then want to be loyal. Okay? A lot of people, if you are in the retail side, a customer comes in, they try you out, they're going to compare you to the place they were currently getting at. Every customer we get in retail, we are stealing from somebody else. Everyone's smoking weed. They're just not buying it from you, or they haven't been buying it from you the first time you get them. I mean, how many people here, because trust me, we all have the story if you worked in retail, I haven't smoked weed in 35 years, and this is now recreational. I can't believe it, but I decided to come in, and I'm trying this out. Yeah, that person walks in maybe once a week, maybe once a month, but that's not keeping you guys, your doors open or profitable in any way, shape, or form. So the big thing is we have to figure out how are we going to get more out of our advertising dollars, or what are we going to do to drive people to our store to get them to buy from us? So the big question is first off is it going to be put brands in your store, right? Is it going to be, hey, if I have Fat Panda on my shelf, is that going to save me? Is that going to make me I'm just going to have the best brands. I'll look on 502 data, I'll see who all the most popular brands are, and I'll put them in my store. Has anybody tried this so far? Nope? Okay. So let's take Fat Panda for an example. Fat Panda has won, or they're currently winning, because I literally was talking to another retailer out there, and he's on the complete opposite side of the mountains. We're not competing against each other. And we're just talking about, oh man, dude, I love Bodie High. Oh man, Fire Bros, I remember Fire Bros. Then I was at, well, yeah man, if you're talking about volume, Fat Panda, dude, like, I have to have Fat Panda in my shop. He literally said the same thing. He said, oh yeah, dude, Fat Panda. They're the #1 pre-roll seller of any company. It's every month. You can look it up. And you sit there and you go, is that profitable? In Seattle, some stores have a nice big fat margin, and that's working for them. I'm not knocking that whatsoever. Get that money, okay? Down where we're at, a lot of competition, shops right across, that becomes a sticking price of like, hey, is your price over too expensive? Well, I can get Fat Pandas for $7 over there. Now I can get them over here for $6. Now I get them for $5.50. Now I get them for $5. Fat Panda hasn't changed their wholesale price. They love us retailers having to compete and cut my margin, not their margin. Okay? They have a nice machine that it's just running all the time. They're more than happy. And so that's my first thing is brands are not going to save your store or make people go to you. Those stores that I showed you with falling revenue, and there's a lot, if you go on 502, you'll see them, they still have good brands in their store. That isn't what stopped people from coming to them. And those people are still buying weed. They're just not buying it from them. So the big question is, and where I'm kind of putting this to, is I believe there are going to be 10 big brands, 10 retailers in the end. Okay? And I'm talking not tomorrow. I'm not talking 24 months from now. I'm talking we're going to have brands in multiple states. Have a Heart is a great company. They're in fucking Hawaii already, right? They're not just local. I don't know if they're now at 7 or if they're at 10. But they are doing exactly what's going to happen. So here's the big thing. If they're in your backyard now or not, you're competing against that. And here's why I'm going to give that an example. Do we all know here, or if you're in Oregon and in California, that getting a location for retail is hard? How many people struggled finding a location, right? What did they do? They packed us all into some areas. You got to be this far away from a park and this far away from a school. And oh my God, if someone opened up a daycare or an arcade, you're screwed. So what did that do? That brings us all into, so real estate becomes less available. Dude, right now somebody, as I was talking, just literally found a location to open up another coffee shop. That wasn't hard, right? So the big thing is with that, when retailers keep expanding, because guess what? We're in business. We're all interested in expanding. 99% of you guys are in this room, and you're taking your time, which is very valuable, and you've chosen to come here to learn something because you're interested in growth and success. So if Have a Heart isn't in your backyard right now, they're going to literally have to move into your backyard because there's no other real estate they got to go to. The state has literally limited it. So the thing is us as an industry and us as a group, the state has basically stacked the deck and said, okay, now you guys just keep competing and beating each other up. And that's what I'm trying to say, is there's a different way to do this. We don't have to all compete and kill each other. What we can do is all get to the end finish line and win, but the thing is we just need to realize how the game is played. So if the situation is that, okay, in Thurston County, there's going to be 6 shops. In Seattle, there's going to be 43 shops. In Bellingham, I think there's going to be like 10 shops. Whatever that number is, you have to think long term. Somebody's going to be willing to come into your area, buy one of the weakest guys, and then open up. That's what everybody in this room would do if you had the money. Now, obviously, one thing we need to touch on is that is why we haven't seen the expansion that our industry has had. Number one, right now it's roughly just below 25% of all licenses in our state aren't open for retailers. And you guys, 25%? That seems weird. They said they were going to give out 500 and something licenses. If I can go back here. Right there's the number. 442 retailers are actually open. I don't actually believe that number totally, but let's say that's the real number. It might be less. So if that is the situation, that there's 25% of licenses that still need to be opened up in our state, and you're in an area and you're like, man, dude, they're already right on top of us, where's that going to come from? So the big thing is with us having new growth, you have to realize is that the new stores, if they open up, if they let people move licenses, last month the Liquor Control Board had a big meeting of saying, hey, guys, you're in Lewis County and they won't let you open up because of this stupid Jeff Sessions rule. Okay, we're going to let you move to Seattle. We're going to let you move to Bellingham. We're going to let you move to Tacoma. They're still deciding that. Who is in, like, someone tell me an area where their store is right now.
There's 20 stores in County.
Nice. Bellingham. Nice. Thanks, man. And so how do you guys feel if they said, oh, 10 more stores there, 5 more stores there?
They already did.
Exactly.
I was one of the 6 lottery winners for Bellingham, and I think we're at 11 stores right now.
Exactly, because of 5052. They're going to keep changing these rules. You used to only be allowed to have 3 stores. The reason we stopped having 4, we got to 4 store growth, one of the reasons we stopped is because it was like, oh, you can only have 3. Well, I'm not going to open up 10 more stores and then just have to shut them all down. That doesn't make any sense. Then they changed the rule to 5. Now you can have 5 stores. That just came out of the blue. It was like, why was that even written in? So getting back to the brands, brands aren't going to save your store or grow your revenue. Number one issue that we're having, and this is going to change, guys, I'm just letting you know, in the next 24 months, enough growers have gone out of business in Washington that some are going to wise up. I have a show that we do, it's called the Industry Show, where I sit down with growers and I just ask them questions. And you want to know the number one common denominator that I've gotten from every grower is their amount to brag that they do no advertising. Oh man, it all sells itself. We got the fire. I do no advertising. That's cool. You want to know what you've now done? Your bag's super cool. Who knows what white labeling is? The majority of the room knows what white labeling is. Okay, if your strategy for creating a brand is just putting weed in a bag and to make the bag look cool, you're dead because white labeling is going to kill you. For those who don't know what white labeling is when anybody just prints a bag, buys the weed from somebody else and shoves it into it and creates a brand. Okay? When you go to Home Depot, there is their brand. It's rigid. Okay, when you go to Costco, their brand is Kirkland. When you go to Safeway, it's 360 organic. Okay, it's just stuff that they're literally cutting out the margin from the wholesaler. They'll go to anybody, buy it cheaper, and then that product gets the shelf space. Okay, it's one of the number one ways that even brands that are like, say, let's do some oil brands. So you got Killer Bee concentrates, right? Well, maybe Killer Bee Concentrates doesn't want to compete with itself because 2 shops are right next to each other. Man, if you sell to me or you sell to my competitor, I'm not buying it. Lots of stores say that. I'm not on either side of that fence. I'm totally found like, hey, if the store next to me has Fat Panda and I got to carry Fat Panda because people are going to physically come into my store and buy Fat Panda. I do a lot of talking for like, how do you sell to a retailer? Dude, the entire speech is this. Tell me how your product's going to drive new customers into my store. Don't tell me how my store is going to make you profit by you're going to sell something else I already got on my shelf. That's just, dude, I got a net zero at that. Now I got inventory that's not moving because I'm selling your stuff. I need to sell the stuff I already put out cash for. So if the white labeling is really going to affect that for any growers and brands because they're not marketing, the number one thing we need to do is partner with producer processors. Do joint funds. Guys, when you see a McDonald's commercial, who's paying for it? Is it McDonald's? 99% of the time it's Coca-Cola. There's always a Coca-Cola in that fucking thing. They do shared marketing. Now the problem is we have an industry that came from medical. I loved medical. I was in medical. But the number one thing is all the growers nowadays, most of them came from medical. They didn't have to do any advertising. They showed up with a bag to your place. They dropped it off and you sold it. I don't want to tell you how many times I've literally been told to my face from a producer processor, it's not my job to sell weed, it's your job. It's your job to sell my weed. Dude, I can't go vertical. I can't open up my own retail store. It's your job to sell my weed. Dude, none of us retailers, it is not our job to sell their fucking weed. Our job is to sell good weed to our customers and make our customers happy so they come back to us. It is no fucking way our job to sell their weed. Okay, so that's the big thing that I want to drill into everybody is, okay, we have a baseline now of what is going on for us retailers. Now, we have all this competition. We haven't even touched on, like, why do we have dropping revenue for a bunch of people? They had a bunch of customers, guys, that literally said, yeah, I'm going to try you out. And then that customer had to decide and go, hey, I'm going to now go somewhere else. Was it price? Was it whatever? Was it brand? Was it that somebody marketed and got that person to come try them out and they liked that experience better? Guys, I'm just letting you know, if you want to drive a bunch of customers to your store, they did it. That's not the solution, guys. It's not about getting someone to give you a shot. It's about getting that customer to come back day after day after day after day. How many people have had people come into their store 3 times in one day? Basically everybody, okay? That's what we're talking about. That's the one thing that's amazing about the industry we're in, is it's a consumable. It's where all the numbers come in. If we were in the furniture business and you sold a couch to somebody, dude, you got 10 years until you got to sell that same person another couch. Same thing with cars. How long until that person comes back? In our industry, I'll see that person again in an hour. Cool, enjoy that pre-roll, man. I'll see you in an hour. That's cool. So guys, the big thing is these people got people to give them a shot, and they didn't come back. We faced that in recreational. When we went for medical, man, I had 4 stores. We did delivery for 20 miles. We know what the fuck we're doing. And recreational is a learning curve. You know what I mean? We got a bunch of people to give us a shot, but we weren't doing it right. I have no problem admitting that. We had to learn a lot of stuff going into recreational, and the people that are in recreational came from medical, you can say the exact same thing. Okay? People don't want to pay just extra more money because it's recreational. They'll go back to the black market. They'll do whatever they were doing in the past, or guess what? They'll go to the retailer right across the street from you. People have choices. If there's 2 stores within 100 miles from each other, that's enough for someone to choose someone else than you. And that's the big thing that where we want to get to is how do we work together to become one of those final 10. So if we all agree that, guess what, there's going to be consolidation, I'm just going to play this in. Consolidation is already happening here, and it's going to happen a lot faster once Canada goes online. So let's talk that through. Canada, you get to be on the public stock market. Okay? They got 8 companies, all on the public stock market, all have licenses to ship weed right now for medical across the entire country. We are regulated down here. Washington, 30,000 square feet per producer processor. Oregon bumped it up to 40,000 square feet. One of these 8 companies, their second facility, not their first, their second facility is 800,000 square feet indoor grow. Because guess what? They can go all across the country. Currently, they have a complete head start, and July or June, wherever it goes completely deregulated, not deregulated, decriminalized, completely legal in Canada, they get to have real money. Right now, we deal with private investors, hedge funds, maybe the kind of shark loany guys that will buy the building for you and you can then pay them over excise on rent. Why have most producer processors gone out of business? It wasn't that their weed was super shitty. It's that their rent was so high that they have so much cost against it. Okay, and then obviously all the outdoor guys were able to bring it in at a better price. Does that affect us? A bit, because it's making our ecosystem weaker. I would like to see everybody who's going in on the boom work out. I'm not up here. I don't want anyone going out of business. I've seen retailers go out of business. I've seen farms go out of business. I know friends where it hasn't worked out. That's tough. That's real people's real dreams, real money. So Canada is just going to get all public financing. They're going to be able to finance from regular banks, and they're going to be able to raise money on the public stock market. And guess where that money's going to come? To the area where, the United States. And if you guys think, oh man, they're going to make laws and that's not going to happen, that's cool. You can live in that world. I'm going to live in reality. The biggest chain down in Oregon already got bought 12 months ago. They bought all 4 of their locations, and I think they had 4, 5, 6 farms. It was a $30 to $40 million deal, and they just bought them all in one day. And it was a Canadian company that did it. So guess what, guys? We are going to get a lot more competition because a lot more money is going to come into our industry, and it's going to affect all of us retailers. We're going to feel the effect of when that real money comes in, because guess what? Then we're heading to the 10. People have their brand name. They have their stuff. The one thing I can tell you, I don't know any of your guys' stories, but unless you are part of some big hedge fund and you're dressed in a suit and you're in here today, you do not have enough personal money to compete with that. Okay? So the question comes into, okay, what is the solution? The number one solution we hear all the time on the retail side, and I will have you guys raise your hands, buying groups. Who has heard of a buying group? There we go. So in a normal industry, buying groups are standard. If you are literally a car dealer or a fast food chain or anything like that, you buy everything through a buying group. You buy your chairs, you buy your toilet paper, you buy everything through a buying group because you're going to get it cheaper. So there are some buying groups in Washington. The Liquor Control Board's still figuring out if they're chill with it. I'm not commenting on if it's a good thing, bad thing, or if it's even legal. But people are doing group buying. If you're a farm in here, you've definitely got to call. I represent 20 shops. I represent these guys. These big stores have gone and done group buying. I'm not opposed to group buying. What does group buying all do? It's to bring our costs as retailers down. So either A, we have more profit, or that we can compete with the price out the door. Okay? Is group buying the solution to our problem? I'm going to say no, and here's why. You can keep driving those costs down, and that's good, but here's the thing. If you can't compete with someone else's bigger buying group, because the farm runs out. If you were a part of a 20-store buying group, and they decide to give you a deal, their cost to get it to you in the delivery van system that we have to drive direct basically, and even if you canavan it or terpene transit, do that, the cost is still the same. They still got to drive to those 20 stores. So you're only going to shave that down, and everyone wants to know where the bottom is. So the big thing is I do believe if you're going to compete in your one store, buying group literally may be a solution for you to at least get the same price someone else is getting. Okay? And if you guys are on the retail side, and I don't know how much you look at 502 and the other websites, the invoice system, in all honesty, is bullshit. What you see on that and what people have listed on there as the sale price from wholesale to retail is complete fantasy. Please don't believe that that is a Bible. I don't know how they're doing it. That's not my job to figure that out, but it isn't. Someone is not somehow selling somebody a cartridge for $15 and that guy is selling it out the door at $20 and still has the state tax on it, okay? Like either they're like just wanting to lose money on every cartridge, be fined by the Liquor Control Board for selling stuff under cost and tax. So those invoices of like, oh man, I'm getting the same price as the big guys, you're not, and don't believe those invoices. So guys, getting back to that 10, I'm gonna say the big crazy thing that everybody says I'm crazy. Don't love your store name. Okay? Now, everybody who works at a store, dude, we're 420, we're THC, we're Danks Wonder Emporium. You love your store name. You have pride with where you work. But if you're an owner or investor or whatever, what you need to realize is here is what is killing the little guys, and the little guys aren't going to be able to compete. It's marketing dollars to marketing return on investment to long-term value of the customer and in that compete circle. So let me break that down because it can seem a little weird. If you have a store and I have a store, let's say we both spend $10,000 a month in advertising, okay? Now, how effective is that advertising? When I had one store, we spent some on advertising, but I can't spend it. I have to spend it in a very tight radius because someone's not going to drive 25 miles to my store. When I had 4 stores, I could spend a fuckload more on advertising. 1, because I'm making more money, but 2, because guess what? If I hit the person on the west side, they go to my west side store. If I hit the person on the east side, they go to my east side store. If I hit the person in the north, they go to my north store. That's where the win is. That's why McDonald's wins. That's why having more locations win. Okay? I didn't pull the numbers up, but I thought it was a great example. One of these guys that I have up here hasn't had much of a dip. You know, it's moderate, right? But a store opened up down the street from them, and they went from nothing to 350,000 in 3 months. I haven't shown you anybody with those high of numbers or anywhere close to that trajectory of like opened and this. It's happened. Why? It was the company's 3rd store. They already have a built-in loyal fan base. That store just happened to be closer to those number of people where they lived, and their marketing, every dollar they spend, they're getting a 3-fold return on. Okay? That is where you get that separation, where single entities with single names trying to drive that name, trying to spend, is losing ground every day, not because you're not buying it at the same price as the other guys, not because you're trying to get more margin and be more profitable on less sales, it's because they are literally stealing customers all the time because of marketing. People come to town. Obviously, we enjoy the fact that we're recreational because we get a lot more tourists and people traveling, they can just come in our stores. Back in the medical days, we had to turn them all away. You don't have a Washington State medical card, I'm sorry, man. So that is where we're going to get to the 10. For long-term success, it is guys getting in, doing licensing, doing franchising, that is where it's going to be. I don't want anybody here to have to close down their retail store and not be able to compete. I absolutely don't. I just want to have a realistic conversation with you guys about where it is actually going. I don't know if Danks or Emporium will be one of the final names in that 10. I can't guarantee that. I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. So, but the question is what are you doing today to achieve that? So guys, I'll be totally honest. I want to have much more Q&A. It's one of the reasons I even started this talk early. So we're going to jump into that now. I've definitely talked to you guys a bunch. I have this ball to throw out. Any questions you guys have, more than happy to answer. I want to get into the details, because guys, like I said, I've got nothing to sell you, especially in Washington State. I'm just having a conversation with you guys about what is going on in your guys' world for retail. Any questions? Who wants the ball first? Dude, if I throw this bad, I apologize. Coming at. Good catch.
Just wondering about your view of the tribes coming in on the retail side of it, and it's especially for because of not even reporting their income to the LCB.
Yeah, dude, I totally agree. Down where we're at, we're close to a tribe, and there's like, I'm just going to be completely honest with you, man. If I had my way, my store would have weed, then I'd have a separate section for paraphernalia, then I'd have a separate section for cigarettes. That's what people are coming for. Have more. I cannot sell a cigarette in any way compete because literally 4 blocks away, there's a tribe cigarette store that's selling them at half the price of Costco, right? And so we're not going to be able to figure that, like we're not going to be able to fix that. And that is so far above our level to fix. I agree that we have to compete against that. They are going to steal customers. The number one thing that we can do is try and get the Liquor Control Board to lower tax. But my big thing is, like once again, if you're going to a customer, I have people come from the tribe to come to my store because they like our product better, they like a particular brand, or they like what we do, or they like our return policy that the tribe ones don't give. And so they're choosing to spend more. People are price conscious. I went over that. If it looks like you're buying an apple and the other one's an apple, they're going to go for the cheaper one, right? So I have to figure out how to have the apple and be better at that same price so that they come to my store. But dude, I had a store in the city of Pacific right next to Auburn. If you guys know where Auburn is, dude, that's one of the first tribes that literally got a rec store, and you just saw the turn of a hose go in that direction. But there was a rec store up there that was one of the early ones. I'm trying to think of the name. I can't off the top of my head. Dude, they're still one of the busiest in the state. You know, they're doing 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 a month. So that is not a guarantee. Just because you're next to the tribe does not mean that you can't be highly successful. We can't use the tribe of being like, man, I just can't compete, I'm screwed. I do agree that they are selling it for whatever they want. If they wanted to sell pre-rolls at 10 cents, they could. And that's just the thing that we live in. And the only thing the Liquor Control Board can do is ask them not to. In all honesty, the Liquor Control Board cannot be like, no. So that's it. Any other questions? Can you throw the ball back there, my man? Yeah, I can hear you.
Top 5 retailers.
Okay, now I didn't hear you.
Top 5 retailers.
Top 5 retailers? Okay, who are the current top 5 retailers?
Yeah, from your point of view.
From my point of view, I mean, dude, I would just go off the numbers. Obviously, Uncle Ike's is always there. The Evergreen Market is there. 420 is obviously there if you combined all their stores. The thing is that you're looking at revenue base. Here's the thing I'll just tell you guys. If anybody doesn't know this already, I'm not bursting any fucking secrets. As I just said, Evergreen Market, Uncle Ike's, which those two are up for sale. Has anyone seen those sales numbers that they're asking? They're already cashing out. So they want someone with big, big money to come in and pay them like $50 million per store or something crazy. And so they're really going, once again, where's that money most likely going to come from immediately? Canada. And so now you're competing with something that's never going to go away. But Uncle Ike's, Evergreen Market, 420, and a couple other guys are all in one buying group. And so their buying power per month is somewhere like around 10 million wholesale value minimum. So, any other questions? Dude, if you can chuck it, chuck it. Going back, heads up. I'll try and get the ball up to you, but it's going back to him. Yeah, I'll answer this question. Then I'm hitting you. Hit me, buddy.
All right, so you said
Okay, that is a great question. So there's a difference between branding and advertising, okay? And I'm going to go very, very specific because we live in 2018. I don't give a fuck if a brand buys an ad in one of the magazines. And if you're from one of the magazines, dude, you guys all know who I am. I love you guys. But it does not help drive customers to my store if they put an ad in a magazine where 90% of the consumption of that magazine is Seattle or Tacoma, or maybe Spokane. I'll throw Spokane in there. And that the distribution point is my store. I already had to do something to get that customer to walk into my store to get your free magazine. In 2018, you can do localized advertising. Now, I'm not going to jump on into exactly like, is it Google, is it Facebook, is it Instagram, should you do organic, should you do paid, whatever. But what I care about as a retailer, and I think other retailers around here would say, is the brands that are on my shelf that I've put money into, once I give a producer-processor money, do I want their stuff to sell? Absolutely. I want to get my money back and then some. We are now partners. So what brands need to be doing is spending advertising dollars to drive people to walk in the store and want to buy their stuff. I will give an example. So what we did is we ran some videos. They were just strain review videos, and it was a great guy, and he reviewed Liberty Reach. We don't even carry Liberty Reach anymore, but I'll get into that in just a second. And their stuff is in a red bag. Does everybody know the brand Liberty Reach? Oh, everyone nodded. It's great. So we ran this, and this is what happened with customers walking in the door. They'd walk in, they kind of look around. They're like, hey, man, can I help you? I'm just looking for that red bag. What, are you looking for strawberry mango haze? Yep. Okay, man, come on this way, I'll get it for you. Because they were walking in to buy that exact product that we'd had an exact ad running in an exact local area. That's what brands need to do. We retailers should not be spending that money. It should not be my job to make that video. It should be their job to make that video to have customers literally coming in asking for their product. Fat Panda is doing that. Do you want to know how many times my bud tenders will get yelled at if I run out of Fat Panda, which we have because of all the leaf, traceability, all that stuff. So we've had it and gotten to experience. I had to send out a personal apology video to all my customers because Ionic went down for 3 weeks and we didn't have their $30 full gram cartridges. I'm sorry, guys. So there's an example of brands. Ionic, I don't know if they're the big sponsor this year. They've been a big sponsor of these events last year. I don't give a fuck about that. That's general advertising. As a retailer, I want localized advertising, you getting people in my area interested in your product, interested in trying your product. That's what us retailers want. Now, should we partner on that? Am I totally down for partnering? Absolutely. That's co-branding, co-marketing, 100% legal, totally acceptable by the Liquor Control Board, and isn't being done today, primarily because there's not enough communication between the brands, because what happens is the producer-processors get tired of being beat up by price. When I have conversations with producer-processors, trust me, sometimes they got to get realistic on their fucking price. Like, $5.50 a wholesale gram, I don't know where you're getting that. They tell me they're getting it, but I don't know where they're getting it. And so, like, I apologize if I have to beat them up a little bit on price, but what I want to know is, what are you doing to drive your customers into my store if you want to be in my store? So Fat Panda is the good example because they've won. They have built a fan base over time. It also came from medical, and they have customers that come in demanding the product. One of that is price. Like, it is not that they can just sell it for whatever they want. If my Fat Panda pre-rolls went to $10 tomorrow, it's dead. You know, so brand goes so far. But what is brand? It's consistency. So here's the big thing I didn't get a chance to talk about, and I just want to go 2 seconds on it. When a customer doesn't know a brand, the reason why price is so important is because there's risk. When I go to Dick's today or McDonald's, I know exactly what I'm getting. I know exactly what those French fries are going to taste like. There is no risk for my money. I'll hand it over gladly. They raise the price every year, like by 10 cents. Doesn't matter to me because I know exactly what I'm getting. When a customer goes, okay, I know Fat Panda, now I'm going to try these guys. What we have found doing our show, the Chronicast, is we bring customers on board, and it's shocking how loyal and how small they've gone wide on how many brands they've tried, because brands haven't done anything to get them to try them. So customers are coming in and are realistically, they pick a category and they're buying the same all the time. They're not venturing out of it. And so it doesn't matter if you're talking ounces or eighths or whatever, but it's like, man, have you guys tried these? Like I literally talk to someone who comes in our store every day of the week. And I go, hey, have you tried these guys? These guys have been on our shelf at a good price for a year. Nope, never tried them. Because they don't want to take the risk with their money because they have to smoke it if it's not good, because they don't have a bunch of extra money. Not everybody just has money, oh man, this weed sucks, throw it away. The general smoker is somebody who is budgeting at some point. A lot of people, they smoke an ounce a week. It's not a lot, it's not a little. Are you going to spend $300 on the ounce? Or are you going to spend $100 on the ounce? Or are you going to spend $50 on the ounce? That doesn't matter, but that person is budgeting that. So I know I went long on that question, but I hope that kind of answered it. And then this guy just wants the ball up here, and I did promise that he'd be next. Hey, buddy.
Question on online. How important is online sales coupled with delivery and pickup service? And how does that factor in with online advertising?
Okay. So there were multiple questions there, so I'm going to kind of go one at a time. Online is very important. It's literally something that I'm thinking about all the time and trying to work on. We literally, and I'm going to just be honest with you guys because I'm just up here being honest, we went with Duber to be connecting with the API because we have like 10,000 SKUs. Atrocious. Just pissing money away that I personally spent. We probably, in just hard costs, lost somewhere around $30,000 media buy on their product being so bad, not including all the customers that were pissed off at us because it wasn't right, inventory was wrong, all those kind of things. The fact that when you go to it, it doesn't drive you to a specific product, those kind of things. So we're actively looking, I'll be totally honest, we're actively looking to find the good online menu pre-order system. We don't do any delivery. We used to do delivery in medical, and I hope that this state brings it back. Oregon has it, other states have it, those kind of things. So that is very, very important. It can be a massive driver. Delivery is a part of this industry and is going to continue to be a part of. And if you're going to have a pre-order system, it really is, it goes back to old school. Like if you're selling something on Amazon, get the person when they want it, drive them to you, get them to click buy, and it will literally, then even brands become more important because they're shopping either by price or whatever. The color of it, the look of it, the smell of it, all goes out because it's literally a convenience buy, and it's all about, a lot of people don't realize, coming to a weed store, dude, our name of our store is Danks Wonder Emporium. Literally, come to the Wonder experience, right? It is a weed wonderland. But most consumers, they're running an errand. I gotta go get milk, I gotta go get my weed, I gotta fill up the car, and I gotta pick up the kids from school. Okay, so it's in, out, go. The faster you can make that transaction, the smoother you can make that transaction, you win. Period, end of story. Any other questions? My man, just throw the ball over there.
My voice carries really well. You touched base on your return policy.
Yeah.
What are your parameters on your return policy?
My parameters are absolutely fucking nuts. Do you want to know why? Because I don't have to run my store to try and maximize profit. Okay? So, like I said, don't do what I do. Okay? It's 2 indica, 2 sativa, you just don't like the flavor. The reason I literally say you just don't like the flavor is I don't give a fuck why you don't like it. Stop smoking it, bring it back, let me get you something you want to smoke. So no one else does it the way that we do it. And I'm just going to let you know, I have to fight with producer processors all the time to take it back. I don't want to tell you what my quarantine fucking looks like. It's a fucking joke. Okay? So I'm not telling you to be up here and fucking do it, dude. It's insane. We're working on it. But the one thing is yes, a producer processor in the end should stand behind their product or we're not going to carry them in our store. Okay? There's a reason I don't carry Liberty Reach anymore. I already said it, and that's a fact. Because they're not standing behind their product and stuff. But even companies that are big companies that do stand behind their product, I'll give it a good shot. Ionic, okay? Trust me, even in recent years, I have to kind of bicker with them about return policies. Those guys had a bad batch. They owed me about 10 grand because I was sitting on 10 grand of bad product. Those guys stepped up, came back, took it all. So I'll give a shout out to them. That's standing behind your product. Oh, dude, I don't want to tell you, every sales rep, if you guys deal with sales reps coming in, every sales rep say they stand behind their product until you try and do a return and they don't. So, yeah. A ball going all the way to the back.
How realistic do you think MSRP and MAP would be coming from wholesale to retail?
Okay, hold it a little further away so it makes it was MSRP, and what? Okay, so is anybody doing that? I think it's dude, it's just like anything. Like, this truck is normally retailing at $54,095. This month you can get it for $35,022. It's just a bogus number that then someone's going to show as a marketing thing to undercut the price and that kind of stuff. Everybody here in this retail and other states don't understand it. Like, why is there the 3 times markup here? It's because 46 cents of every dollar that comes in the door is going to the state. So it's literally the state gets a third, the producer processor gets a third, the retailer gets a third. Is that the absolute best margin on where to win? I don't know. It's all about where your store is at and where you can then go and what you can get. And so I don't ever, so like some people want to go all volume. Cool, cut your margin and then go for volume. Like if that makes more sense. If you're talking about from a producer processor standpoint, and I think that's where your question's at, can a producer processor say, I want this to be a $40 eighth because I want to control my brand? I think you got no shot in hell. I'm just going to be totally honest. Because if it starts sitting, we are dealing with a perishable good. Most people bitch about the fact that there are harvest dates on stuff now, right? And that's the thing. So every day that that's sitting on the shelf, the retailer wants to move it. And so I can understand that you have some parameters. Most producer processors literally control it by just the price they're willing to sell it at. Oh, dude, you want cheaper oil? I have a cheaper oil brand. Oh, you want cheap oil? I have a cheap oil brand. But my top shelf Nug Run Terp sauce is this price. And that's what controls what the go-to-market price is at. There have been some new guys getting into Washington. I see you, man. Have got into Washington, and they're not understanding what the margins are, and then they have some pride, but they learn real quick. That's not tough. Can you throw the ball all the way over to this guy, like a football rock star? Okay, he played basketball. What's up, my man? Cool. Say the first question again, because I'm going to do them in order.
Standard markup.
Yep.
Flat bar or
yeah. So what we do, I'm going to be totally honest, man, because we carry a very broad number of brands. So most stores carry half the brands that we do and half the number of strains. We carry 300 different strains. I carry over 100 different kinds of concentrates. I carry well over 100 different kinds of pre-rolls. There are definitely some stuff not moving very fast, having that kind of selection. And then there's the ones that are moving all the time. In my opinion, since we went that direction, which is not right, most stores are not going that direction. If we have it that direction, it's not my job to move that brand's product. It's their job. So if yours isn't moving at your price, or because you haven't marketed to drive people in to buy your stuff, it's you need to fix your price. You need to call me and say, our price is now lower, give me a credit, get it out the door. It's not my job to cut my margin, sell it at a fucking loss because I have rent and pay for that employee to do that transaction. And so that's why you'll see stuff that sits, which guess what? If you are on the producer processor side, that's hurting your fucking brand. You should be definitely calling that retailer, what do we got to do to get that out the door? Vendor day, deal, whatever you got to do. You want to get people smoking on your most recent stuff so they like your brand. It also hurts the brand if, someone comes in, finally takes that risk, buys it, and then really fucking doesn't like it. So we went with a very standard markup, and we just let the brands compete. That's not on us. I don't care if you buy this X or Y, I'm making the same amount of money. That's the step. Most retailers, I think, play with a little bit. They look at the other store. Oh, those guys are charging 40 an eighth, but so I can have a little more bump, and they do that. We just kind of let the cards go where they lie. And then on inventory, dude, that's something as a retailer we're always working with. Oh fuck, I totally forgot about those guys. That's been here forever. Let's get it out, and then let's call that company and try and figure something out. So yeah. Any other questions, guys? And I've just got to check on time. Are we out? Oh, yeah, we're over, guys. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Hope you got something. I'll talk to people after.